Agriculture has undergone profound changes in the recent past. Gone are the days when plowing and harvesting on large tracts of land alone was the source of food. There is a saying, right? Modern problems need modern solutions. Well, this stands true for our young generation farmers too. We all know that plants grow in soil, right? But in this video, I'm going to talk about something mind-blowing. I'm going to talk about what are the different types of farming that requires no land or soil. And with that, we'll also understand what are the advantages you get by each of these types of farming. So are you excited to learn the process of how by doing soilless farming today you can earn the same amount of money or same amount of profit as those conventional farmers who are earning by cultivating crops spread across acres of land? Hi, I'm Namita Pandey. Welcome to Freedom's farming channel. And well, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, then quickly do so. So now moving ahead, there is no doubt that technology has changed the way traditional farming was done, given that now there is availability of self-driven tractors. There is GMO seeds, drones and advanced calculation to derive and compare the production data, etc. The latest in the line of advanced farming techniques is the growth of vegetables and fruits indoor without soil or sunlight. Isn't that just amazing? Now, before we go ahead and we look at what are the different types of soilless farming, let's first understand what do we exactly mean by soilless farming itself. Well, as the name suggests, soilless farming can be defined as any kind of method of growing the plants without the use of soil as a rooting medium in which the nutrients are absorbed by the roots are supplied via the irrigation water. The nutrients to be supplied to the crops are dissolved in the appropriate concentration in the irrigation water, and such a solution is referred to as nutrient solutions. So the plants are here grown in nutrient solutions rather than grown on the soil. The main principle of soilless farming is that it takes the nutrients from another medium rather than the soil itself. In this case, it is water. So now you might wonder, why should anyone choose soilless farming? Well, let me tell you that there are multiple advantages of doing soilless farming, including A. By opting the soilless farming, you get yields much faster. So when you focus on more optimized feeding plan, which means that there is more growth cycle per year, and which eventually means that there is more yield and more food. The second reason is, unlike the traditional farming, you don't have to worry about the scarcity of water. Soilless farming means in a small space you also get more yields. It will also require less amount of water. And you know what? It requires almost 90% less water when compared to the conventional soil farming. Moving on to the next advantage, it includes controlled environment agriculture. Now, for most of the farmers out there, climate is the main indicator of how much of yield they can expect every year. For them, it all depends on the weather, the climate, the atmosphere, etc. But with soilless farming, you get to control the entire agriculture environment all through 365 days. Now here you don't really have to worry about the birds flying overhead or animals burrowing in the fields, and pesticides can also be avoided. CEA in short, which is called as, it is a method of agriculture that optimizes the temperature, the humidity, airflow and light within the growing environment of a farm. Now moving on to the last benefit you get by opting the soilless farming, it includes location. Now any crop or the product that we eat, we often expect that the crop grown in the field or the farm can and should be significantly closer to the end consumer, decreasing the carbon footprint of delivery and increasing the freshness of the product. Now since there is no dependence on soil fertility, soilless farming is the kind of farming that can be done anywhere. So for this, you really don't have to think about having acres of land to grow your own veggies and also your fruits. So now let's move on and let's get to understanding what are different types or kinds of farming that one can start without actually having soil. So the very first one is hydroponics. As soon as we say hydroponics, often people say or they wonder, oh, sounds cool. Sounds like it has to do something with the healthy food maybe. So what exactly do we mean by hydroponics? Well, simply put, hydroponics is a way to skip the soil, sub it in a different material to support the roots of the plant and grow the crops directly in the nutrient-rich water. Now let me tell you, hydroponics is not very difficult and you don't really need the abundant factor to get started with. You can just try growing herbs that are required on a daily basis in the small pots in your home itself. Now let me tell you, how does this farming method actually work? Well, hydroponic systems work by allowing the minute control over the environmental condition like the temperature, the pH balance, and the maximized exposure to nutrients and water. Hydroponics operate under very simple principle, which includes only to provide the plants exactly what they need and when they need it. Hydroponics administer the nutrient solution tailored to the needs of the particular plant that is being grown. They allow you to control exactly how much of light the plants receive and for how long. pH levels can be monitored and adjusted. In a highly customized and controlled environment, plant growth accelerates at a much faster pace. Now let me also add that by controlling the entire environment of the plant, many risk factors are also reduced. Plants grown in gardens and fields are introduced to the host of variables that negatively impact their health and growth. Fungus, for an instance, in the soil can spread the diseases to plants. Wild animals, for an instance, rabbits can plunder the ripening vegetables from your garden. Pests, for another instance, such as the locust, which is one of the major problems in many states, can descend on crops and obliterate them in the afternoon. Hydroponic systems end the unpredictability of growing plants outdoor and on the earth. Without the mechanical resistance of the soil, seedlings can mature much faster. By eliminating pesticides, hydroponics produces much healthier and high quality fruits as well as the vegetables. Without any kind of obstructions, plants are free to grow vigorously and rapidly as well. Now let's look at some of the advantages that is associated with such kind of farming. First and foremost, land and water efficient. The hydroponic farming technology with closed water loop system is a viable option for farmers with limited access to land as well as water. So if you're a farmer, if you want to become a farmer who do not have land and do not have much water, then also you can easily start this kind of farming. The next benefit you get is it is suitable for urban areas, which means that farming is no more limited only to the rural areas alone. The significance of soilless systems increase many folds when it comes to urban and peri-urban areas where the arable land is polluted. And the last advantage you get by opting hydroponics is you get higher yields. The vegetable yield of soilless system is about 20 to 25% higher than the traditional systems, as the number of plants per square meter is higher. Now moving on to the next type of farming method that requires almost zero soil is called as aquaponics. Now aquaponics integrates aquaculture and hydroponics into one production system. Aquaponics relies on the food which is introduced for fish, which works as the system's input. As fish eat this food and process it, it then transforms it into urine and fecal matter, both which is rich in ammonia, which is sufficient quantities can be toxic to plants as well as for the fish. Afterward, the water, which is now turned into ammonia-rich, flows together with uneaten food and decaying plant matter from the fish tank into the biofilter. Later on, inside this biofilter, bacteria breaks everything down into organic nutrient solutions for growing the vegetables. This is very simple process of aquaponics. Now, aquaponics freshwater system rely on three main components, which include the freshwater aquatic animals, which is the fish in this case, second the nitrifying bacteria, and third the plants. All three living entities depend on each other to survive. Now let's talk about some of the advantages you get by opting the aquaponics. The very first advantage includes it is environmental friendly. Now two agricultural products, in this case the fish and the vegetables, are produced from one nitrogen source, which is fish food. Such a system also prevents aquaculture waste from polluting the nearby watersheds. The next advantage is organic fertilizer. Aquaponic farming doesn't involve pesticides or herbicides, as these chemicals may kill the fish. In this system, the fish feces is the nutrient-rich fertilizer for the plants here. Moving on to the next advantage of aquaponics, it includes extremely water efficient. Aquaponics can result in a huge water saving contrasted with the garden grown on the ground. Here, in this case, it is about 80 to 90% of water saving that you can do alone with aquaponics. And the last benefit I'm going to talk about is it is space efficient. An aquaponics system can be set on any scale. It can be as small as the aquarium, or it can also be as big as the greenhouse commercial farm. So these are some of the advantages of aquaponics. And the last type of farming here, which requires almost zero soil, here includes the aeroponics. Vegetables grown out of a thin air. Would you even believe that? This is the specialty of aeroponics. So what exactly do we mean by aeroponics? Well, in short, aeroponic farming is the growing of fruits and vegetables without necessitating the need for soil. Aeroponic farming works by delivering the nutrients to the plant directly, not via soil, but by the nutrient-rich mist, which is then distributed to the roots via a pre-programmed mister. Instead of using the growing medium as you would do within the hydroponic setup, here the roots, in this case the roots grown in the aeroponic systems, are left floating in the mid-air. But let me also tell you that the seeds for this plant grown in the aeroponic system still needs to germinate and then sprout in the growing medium before being transferred. Now let's talk about some of the benefits of aeroponics. The very first one here is the decline in water, fertilizer and pesticide usage. The water usage in the system reduces by 98% and the fertilizer usage by 60%. Pesticides are fully eliminated as the absence of soil reduces chances of diseases. Moving on to the next advantage, here it includes faster yield. The aeroponically grown plants can be harvested 3 times faster and the yields are much consistent. As nutrients are spread onto the plants and roots, there is a plenty of oxygen and other gases in the growing chamber of the roots to absorb. And the next benefit includes prevention from climate impacts. Farming in a confined space gives the farmer control over the pest and locust attacks and sudden heat waves as well. So these were some of the advantages associated with aeroponics, and these were 3 types of farming that requires no soil or very little soil and almost very little water. Well, it is no more a hidden fact that fertile soil is disappearing fast because of the climate change and intensive farming, just as the world needs to feed more people. These soilless farming is indeed the agriculture wave of the future that may change the entire face of agriculture by providing more sustainable and productive alternative to the traditional cultivation. So I hope this video was quite helpful to all those looking forward to start their own smart farming. Also, if you're someone who's interested in farming and you want to learn in detail about farming, then we have our own Freedom app, which you can download from either Play Store or App Store, wherein we have hundreds of farming practices that you can easily start with. And for that, we also have an expert in that particular field who will be teaching you A to Z of that particular farming. So hurry up and download Freedom app from Play Store or App Store. Also, that now you have come to the end of the video, do not forget to hit on the like button, subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to hit on the bell icon to get notified for our next video. Thank you for watching Freedom, Get Wise, Break Free.